As we usher in the new year, there's a lot to be excited about in the cruise industry for 2025. But along with those exciting changes come a few disappointing ones that were honestly kind of predictable. And we cover them all, that way you're prepared for cruising this year, up next. Welcome aboard, cruisers. I'm Don B from Eat, Sleep, Cruise. And while it is true that cruising is expanding its reach across the globe, we're also seeing a little bit of backlash with several countries and cruise destinations limiting the number of cruise ships or banning cruise ships altogether, and that number is increasing in 2025. A few years ago, Bar Harbor, Maine voted to limit cruise visitors to 1,000 per day. In 2023, several major cruise line companies agreed to daily 5-ship limit in Juneau, Alaska. A passenger count limit has also been agreed upon for Juneau, set to go in effect in 2026. Then, of course, there's Venice, which in 2021 banned large cruise ships from porting in its city center. They now dock at a nearby industrial port instead. This year, New Zealand has put in tougher regulations when it comes to cleaning of cruise ships, which is likely to see a 15% decrease in the total number of passengers and ships visiting the region in 2025. Then there's the island of Santorini, Greece. It's one of the most beautiful places we've ever visited, but it is overrun with cruise ships and tourists. So in 2025, Greece is imposing a $20 levy on cruise ship passengers. The mayor of Santorini is also reintroducing a daily limit of 8,000 visitors to the island in 2025. This will limit the number of days on which several cruise ships can visit Santorini at the same time, thus leading to changes in itinerary and some cruise ships being banned from visiting the region. Just recently, the mayor of Nice is calling out a ban on all cruise ships visiting the region starting in July 1st of 2025. He is quoted as saying that cruise passengers add nothing to the cities in France and only leave their waste behind them. The plan would call for banning large cruise ships that exceed 190 meters or have a capacity of over 900 guests from visiting ports in the region. Several other destinations have raised concerns about the number of cruise passengers. For instance, Amsterdam has announced it will slowly phase out cruise ships and ultimately shutter its cruise terminal as the popular destination cracks down on over-tourism. Starting next year, the city's passengers terminal, Amsterdam, will cap cruise ships to 100 a year. Several other destinations have also imposed restrictions on the number of cruise ship visitors or have introduced regulations to do so. These include Dubrovnik, Croatia, the French Polynesian Islands, Iceland, and others. In the middle of 2025, changes to cruising will be coming for travelers visiting many countries in Europe. The European Union will be enacting a new visa for citizens of countries that currently can visit the Schengen area without one. The visa, called the European Traveler Information and Authorization System, will apply to those from countries including the United States, Canada, Mexico, the United Kingdom, and Australia. This means that once the visa requirement is activated, cruisers from applicable countries will need one to take a cruise that visits countries within this area. These include popular Mediterranean destinations such as Greece, France, Italy, Spain, and Portugal. It also includes Northern European countries like Norway, Finland, Germany, Iceland, Sweden, and the Netherlands. While a travel visa like this isn't a big deal, it just adds another item to the pre-cruise do list and is another thing to keep track of. The good news is that it's an electronic visa that can be easily submitted online and will only cost around $10 per person. While the visa is required for all ages, only those between the ages of 18 and 70 need to pay the fee. It's free for minors and seniors over 70. Likewise, US citizens also now need an electronic travel authorization to transit through or travel to the UK in 2025. Perhaps the most disappointing change to cruising in 2025 that we all saw coming was increased cruise fares. Cruise fares are on the rise for a variety of reasons, but one of the biggest factors is skyrocketing demand. Cruise lines have been seeing record-breaking bookings allowing them to raise prices across the board, and those prices will be even higher in 2025. Take Viking Cruises, for example. They've already sold 70% of their 2025 capacity as of the third week in January of this year. And perhaps even more surprising is that the prices are about 26% higher than they were last year. Of course, Viking has positioned themselves as a luxury brand, and it seems like travelers are willing to pay a premium for their top-tier service. But there's also Royal Caribbean, which continues to capitalize on its immensely popular private island, Perfect Day at Coco Cay. It's been such a hit that they have adjusted pricing for itineraries featuring this stop. With add-ons like water park passes and exclusive cabanas, they've also seen price increases, contributing to the overall cost of your Royal Caribbean cruise being higher in 2025 than it was in 2024. Even budget-friendly cruise lines are increasing cruise fares. Carnival Cruise Line, known for its affordable options, is rolling out Celebration Key, a brand new private island in the Bahamas debuting in late 2025. Cruises featuring this stop are priced higher than similar itineraries have been in the past. And then there's Disney Cruise Line. Its brand new ship, Disney Treasure, is drawing in families in droves. Demand for its unique itineraries has pushed prices significantly higher compared to other Disney sailings. And families are willing to pay for their one-of-a-kind Disney experience, making the ship one of the priciest options on the market. Norwegian Cruise Line too has reported strong advanced bookings, which means that they've been able to maintain higher cruise fares than they have in the past. With higher cruise fares and more advanced bookings, there's an additional wrinkle: the reduced availability of discounts. So gone are the days when last-minute deals were the norm. With so many ships sailing at or near capacity, and cruise lines giving themselves 1 to 2 years to fill these ships, cruise lines no longer feel the need to offer steep discounts. Instead, they're focusing on premium pricing and upselling onboard experiences like specialty dining and exclusive tours. When taken collectively, means your cruise in 2025 will cost more. But cruising is still an exceptional value when compared to many land-based vacation options. Along with rising cruise fares, there's also increases in several add-ons that cruisers have little control over, such as cruise gratuities. In 2024, several cruise lines increased the cost of daily gratuities or service charges, including Royal Caribbean, Holland America, and Princess. And we already have the first cruise line in 2025 to increase its service charges. Recently, Disney Cruise Line announced it was upping its daily recommended gratuity from $14.50 to $16 per passenger per day, an increase of over 10% for most staterooms. Guests in concierge staterooms and suites have a new recommended gratuity amount of $27.25, up from $23.50, an increase of about 16%. While the incremental increases are usually only by 50 cents or $1 per person per day, this can add up, especially if you're sailing as a family on a longer cruise. Which means in 2025, you need to add extra money to your vacation budget. Likewise, drink package prices are also on the rise, some of them significantly. Carnival, for example, previously charged $59.95 per person per day for its Cheers beverage package if purchased prior to the cruise. However, at the very end of 2024, it increased the price by a whopping 16% to a total of $82.54 per day. In the middle of last year, Princess Cruises increased the price of its inclusive Premier package, which includes a drink package, by $10 from $80 to $90 per person per day. Though with that change, it did add more inclusions. And we suspect to see more price increases for some of these add-ons throughout 2025 as the cost of operating a ship and buying supplies and ingredients inflate, so do the prices. And that extra cost is usually passed down to the passengers. And while the cruise lines do compete on cruise fare, this simply means that some of these add-ons like service charges, beverage packages, or Wi-Fi packages will increase in price, offset those increased costs the cruise line is incurring. While some ports of call are banning cruise ships or restricting cruise ship access, on the flip side, some cruise lines are making the decision to leave certain regions. While pretty much all the major cruise lines, along with many luxury brands, offer cruises in Australia, it's not the most lucrative market for the cruise industry. Factors like economics, lack of interest, and limited itinerary options keep cruising in Australia and New Zealand less popular than it is in North America and Europe. Because of these factors, as well as several others, many cruise lines have implemented changes to cruising in Australia by reducing their presence there. For example, Princess Cruises, which is actually one of the most popular lines in Australia, pulled Grand Princess from the region for a previously scheduled 2025-2026 season there. This leaves just 2 ships in the region, Crown and Discovery Princess. As well, early last year, Virgin Voyages canceled its 2024-2025 Australia season aboard Resilient Lady. Cunard's ship Queen Elizabeth is currently in Australia for the winter and was there for the 23-24 season. However, the line said that it will not be offering an Australian program in the winter of 2025-2026. Further, Carnival Corp is sunsetting the P&O Cruises Australia brand in March of 2025. While it's understandable that cruise lines position their ships in the markets that are most favorable for them, it can be disappointing for us cruisers. It means that both locals and visitors alike have less choice when it comes to exploring the region, both in ship inventory and itinerary options. Along with limiting ports of call, as well as additional visa requirements, destinations are further taxing cruise passengers. In 2024, the Mexican government announced that it would be implementing a tax for anyone visiting the country via cruise ship. And it's not a small, forgettable amount. It's $42 per cruise passenger and applies whether you get off the ship or not. Now, originally, the tax, which is called the non-resident fee, was scheduled to take effect on January 1st. However, it's recently been delayed to July 1st of 2025. Though this fee seems out of left field, it's actually already been in place for those who are visiting Mexico via airplane. Most travelers don't realize this because airlines roll it into the price of the airfare. When the fee goes into effect for cruisers, cruise lines will likely roll the price into the fare as well. However, this isn't great for cruise lines or their passengers. The fee was passed in the Mexican Senate this past fall and came as a surprise to the cruise industry. By the time it was announced, cruise lines had already sold a large chunk of their mid-late 2025 inventory, so the lines themselves would be on the hook for the new fee. On the guest side, though $42 per person doesn't seem like a deal breaker, it could be enough to sway some people from itineraries that include the country. If you're a family of 4 cruising to Mexico, it could cost you an extra $168. For those who are on a tight budget, they may be inclined to pick a different cruise itinerary or choose not to cruise at all. These reduced numbers of passengers on Mexican itineraries would then negatively impact the economy of the port communities the ships visit. Depending on the type of cruiser you are, you may see this as a pro or a con. But regardless of your take, in 2025, there will be more stops at cruise line private destinations. For some, the disappointment grows as cruise lines continue to add new private destinations to their portfolios and include them on itineraries at the expense of other ports, particularly in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. In 2024, Disney Cruise Line opened its second private destination, Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point. In the pipeline are multiple new beach clubs for Royal Caribbean, the first of which is set to open on Paradise Island this December, and a new private destination on Grand Bahama Island for Carnival called Celebration Key, expected to open this year as well. This is in addition to already robust collection of private islands and destinations for cruise lines. These include Great Stirrup Cay, Ocean Cay Marine Reserve, Labadee and Perfect Day at Coco Cay, Half Moon Cay, and Princess Keys. Further, multiple cruise companies are currently renovating and adding new experiences to their private destinations. These destinations include Half Moon Cay, Great Stirrup Cay, and Perfect Day at Coco Cay. As these destinations are enhanced, cruise lines have the demand and capability to port more and larger ships at these private ports. Some large lines boast that some of their ships in the Caribbean operate itineraries that are all calls to one of their own properties. Some cruisers love private destinations and welcome calls there. And honestly, Heidi and I are in that camp. Some of our favorite destinations in the Bahamas and the Caribbean are cruise line private islands. Cruisers like us prefer to stay in that cruise line bubble and enjoy the amenities there specifically created for cruise passengers. It can make planning a day easier, especially as these particular ports of call are often used as a relaxing beach or pool day. However, many people cruise to experience lots of local cultures and experiences all in one trip. So those cruisers may not find the authentic experiences they're craving during a call to a private island destination. Thus, the addition of more cruise line private islands and more stops at these destinations is disappointing to those cruisers. Now, we'll have to admit that like many travelers, we are fans of the largest cruise ships in the world, enjoying a plethora of activities, restaurants, and hangout spots to choose from. And in 2025, most major cruise lines are releasing brand new ships, and these ships will be some of the largest cruise ships ever built. But with so many massive cruise ships carrying thousands of travelers, there are some drawbacks. And the biggest one usually comes in the form of overcrowding. The larger cruise ships get, the more people that are getting off and on the ships at each port of call. And in smaller ports where populations could possibly double in size when 2 or 3 ships come to town, a massive megaship can make a real difference. This is also true of cruise lines' private islands. For example, if 2 medium-sized Royal Caribbean ships dock at its private island of Perfect Day at Coco Cay on the same day, it's crowded, but not crazy. But if 2 Oasis-class ships visit at the same time, the port could easily be welcoming 10,000 plus people at once, not counting staff and crew. That's a lot of people for a 125-acre island. The overcrowding issue aside, if you don't like megaships at all, odds are you're really disappointed in the changes that cruise lines are making as newer class of ships are just getting bigger. And in 2025, we'll see some of the largest cruise ships ever built, including Royal Caribbean's Star of the Seas, which will be slightly bigger than her sister ship, Icon of the Seas, as well as the largest cruise ships ever built by cruise lines such as Princess Cruises, Norwegian Cruise Line, and more. For many, big mega ships are just a big disappointment, and they're sad to see more and more of them in 2025. Along with those price increases we've talked about, we're also seeing cruise lines cut back on their offerings, but not cutting back on the prices. For instance, in December of 2024, MSC Cruises announced that it was placing a limit on drinks for those with a beverage package. To be specific, the line is now limiting alcoholic beverages acquired through the beverage package to 15 drinks per day. This cap is similar to Carnival Cruise Line's limit on alcoholic beverages per 24-hour period, which also happens to be 15. However, there's a big difference. Carnival limits guests who have purchased its Cheers drink package to 15, and they cannot purchase any alcoholic drinks beyond that limit, even if they're willing to pay an a la carte price. This is presumably to cut down on intoxication levels. However, MSC allows guests to purchase drinks a la carte beyond their limit. This indicates that MSC's decision to cap the package has more to do with money than drunkenness. The great news? Neither Carnival nor MSC's drink packages have a daily limit on non-alcoholic drinks. This means that you can have as many sodas, specialty coffees, and bottled water as your heart desires. And as an additional benefit of staying in MSC Yacht Club, drinks served at the MSC Yacht Club bars do not count toward that 15 drink limit. So you can drink as many alcoholic drinks as you want within the MSC Yacht Club, with the 15 drink limit only applying to bars outside of the ship within a ship complex. Other cruise lines have also announced changes to their drink package program in 2025. At the end of last year, Norwegian Cruise Line dished its Free at Sea promotion for a new included package called More at Sea. While More at Sea actually does have more inclusions than Free at Sea, there's one change that has upset many NCL cruisers. the discontinuation of the Premium Plus beverage package, and the related upgrade to the Free at Sea Plus. More at Sea still includes what NCL calls an unlimited open bar, which is the line's premium beverage package. It includes more premium brands than ever before, and there's no longer a $15 drink cap. This package does not include bottled water or Starbucks drinks. However, in the past, guests were able to either upgrade to the Premium Plus package or just purchase it outright. That package did include bottled water and specialty coffees. However, that package no longer exists. This means that those who want a bottled water or Starbucks package will have to buy them separately. NCL offers multiple sized cases of bottled water, ranging from $20 to $50 per package. The unlimited Starbucks package costs about $16.50 per person per day. This is a disappointing change for those who would have taken advantage of the Premium Plus package for the bottled water and Starbucks benefits. They now either have to add an extra package to their vacation or buy these drinks a la carte. Specialty restaurants are nothing new to cruise ships. Their popularity on ocean liners dates all the way back to the 1910s. For decades, cruise ships may have had only one or two specialty restaurants, one of which was often a steakhouse. Now, as cruise ships are built larger and larger, there's more room for a plethora of upcharge dining options. Most specialty restaurants are upscale evening restaurants, serving cuisines ranging from Mediterranean and Asian to Italian and Brazilian. Some venues offer live music, such as the Supper Club on Royal Caribbean's Icon class of ships, or a country band at Q Texas Smokehouse on Norwegian Cruise Line ships. Others are part of an entire dinner experience, such as Spellbound on Sun Princess, or the Royal Railway Utopia Station on Utopia of the Seas. But more recently, cruise lines have been adding more casual options to their selections of upcharge restaurants. For example, in 2023, Princess Cruises added a set price fee to its sit-down pizzeria Alfredo's. Lines like Disney, Royal Caribbean, and Carnival have dedicated dessert shops where some items like sundaes, milkshakes, and cupcakes have an additional charge. Royal Caribbean's megaship Icon of the Seas has a casual walk-up venue called Base Camp, which is located in its Thrill Island Water Park neighborhood, with some menu items there complimentary and other menu items priced a la carte. While some restaurants incurring an upcharge make sense, such as a fancy steakhouse or maybe a teppanyaki restaurant, others are a bit disappointing, like a walk-up quick service counter or a casual pizza spot. For us, those really should be included in the cruise fare. But we only expect to see more upcharge dining venues, both casual and sit-down restaurant options, on cruise ships in 2025. Now that you know all the changes coming to cruising in 2025, we need to find you the perfect cruise ship. Well, lucky for you, we have our complete look at the best new cruise ships of 2025. From cruise lines such as Royal Caribbean, Celebrity Cruises, Princess Cruises, and more, we detail the best ships coming out this year. That way, you're one step ahead of everyone else on board, and your next cruise will be truly unforgettable.